What's up, guys? It's your boy Texas Gaming here. Welcome back to another Rise of the Nations video. In today's video, we are the nation of Ukraine, and our goal is to fight back against the Russians. I was lucky enough to get a Russia where they were not there. Russia that was not there, and pretty much almost like a beginning server. You know, people weren't really focused on doing what they wanted. They weren't focused on expansion. They were mainly focused on economy wise. So you're not going to get this in a normal server. What you're more likely going to get is you're going to get the other scenario where Russia is going to be invading you. As a way to combat that, this video is going to have a lot of tips and tricks that you can do in the event Russia is being aggressive. One thing is early economy and early infrastructure. What do I mean by that? Gather resources fast, build infrastructure, which is basically factories. Develop cities if you have the money. Because the bigger, build electronics factories, that way you can boost your economy. Spend early funds on that rather than producing a standing military. Next is you want to fortify your borders. Stack troops on border provinces, especially in regions adjacent to Russia. Position in defensive terrain. Forests and hills give defensive bonuses. Use support units, artillery, and anti-tank. And then, you don't want to slug out one-on-one. Use hit and run tactics. Now, you may be like, what are hit and run tactics? Target weak provinces first. Provinces that are less defended. Yep, capture lightly defended Russian border provinces early to disrupt momentum. Use fast units, light infantry, and tanks. Then retreat to stronger positions. Basically, capture that province and then fall back. Hit supply centers or infrastructure, basically factories. If there's any factories near the border, hit those first. You want to cripple the enemy in the long term. Then, don't just spam one unit type. Don't just spam tanks. Infantry, good everywhere, and they're cheap. Armor, mortar tanks, excels in open terrain, but pair it with anti-air and artillery. Anti-air is vital to stop any Russian air power. If you're later in game, this could be vital. And make an air force. Use fighters to control skies, bombers to hit deep supply nodes. A balanced force beats a single unit spam army. Guerrilla and flanking tactics. Don't go head on where Russia has the biggest stack. You're going to lose every single time. Flank from the south. Attack from Moldova, Romania border, or the Black Sea coast. Take undefended provinces behind enemy lines to force Russia to split forces. Use terrain to slow down attacks. Retreat into cities if overpowered. Big thing about war, air superiority matters. You need to control the skies. Build air bases quickly in safe regions. Use fighters to clean enemy air before launching ground pushes. Airstrike infrastructure to slow enemy buildup. Timing attacks with boosts. Research upgrades. like attack, defense, production, economy. After attack right after you or an ally unlocks a strong tech. Don't expand too fast at the expense of tech. Better quality is better than sheer numbers. If you're outnumbered, hold choke points like mountain passes or narrow borders. Let the enemy come to you and use your terrain buffs. Fall back to major cities. They're easier to defend and produce more troops. Defensive battles matter. Hold choke points like mountain passes and all that. A quick attack strategy is, here's an example. Mobilize a few infantry and a light armor on the border. Air recon with a fighter to scout Russian stacks. Strike an undefended adjacent province. Retreat back into defendable terrain before counterattack. Reinforce artillery to soften future attacks. Don't scatter your forces. Keep them grouped. Provinces quickly. Always watch enemy movements. Always adapt your defense. Trade space for time. Always want to live to fight another day. That is what you need to do, what you need to focus on those are some tips and tricks what you can do to take down Russia as Ukraine. Because in the long run, winning in the long run is better than winning short term. Because you can always easily win short term. It is when you are fighting in the long run that you need to put your best foot forward. One thing I do as Russia is I always build economy first. Because even though Russia is a large country, its economy isn't all that. Compared to countries like China, Japan, the United States, Russia's economy is subpar. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to build up the economy. I'm not focused on building infantry first, building up my military. I'm focused on building the economy. So, as a Ukraine, you can take that time that Russia is focusing on their economy and use that for you and use that to build up your economy and your infantry and your military and your navy. That's one thing I just didn't mention. Navy. You don't really need a navy when you're attacking a nation as big as Russia. There's going to be areas that is going to be out of the area. One of the main things you want to do is you want to hit Moscow. You want to cap rush. As much as it, is not good, that's the weak point. But more likely, that's going to be where it's going to be most heavily defended. Especially in the event of a war. They're going to keep Moscow defended. Because when you spam troops, that's the first city they're going to spawn in is Moscow, because it's the most heavily populated city in Russia. But what you can do is use an air force, bomb the city, make it where the unrest is high, because once the unrest goes up, then you can make it where troops are not less likely going to spawn there. This Russia, I think, got into debt because it was AI the entire time of the war. I think more likely they may have gone into debt, or simply because of early on. Before I started recording, that was the time I used to weaken the nation, weaken their resolve, weaken their economy, their military, weaken all that. Because if not, it's just going to keep on pumping out troops, and it's going to be a headache. But that's pretty much it. You know, you want to fight to live another day. You don't want to, like in this scenario, I just told them to capture all, and within a matter of a few maybe years, Russia fell. And then, you know, because at the time I was going after the Kievan Rus formable. And, you know, one thing I knew is I wanted to invade Germany. You know, Germany wasn't really doing a whole bunch. They hadn't invaded Poland yet, and this was well into it. You know, but I knew it was going to be somewhat difficult, especially if Germany built factories. This Germany, I think, mainly stayed focused on economy, or didn't even think about expanding. You know, which struck me odd. They didn't think about expanding. So they may have been a new player. They may have gotten lucky and they just were enjoying their time as Germany until I came and ended it. But yeah, that's going to do it all for me, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of the gameplay I have for you. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.